Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, entertainment capital of the world. Here's a look at the stratosphere, choppers in the background, panorama of the famous Las Vegas Strip. Beautiful Thursday afternoon in the desert. And here is the venue, the Orleans Arena, center of the curling universe, this week in Las Vegas as the athletes enter the arena for session number 16. Our feature match at the 361 World Men's Curling Championship is Canada taking on China. Rousing welcome for the athletes as they enter the arena, getting near to the playoff stages. Every game incredibly important. Who will be in the final six? Who will be in the top two to advance directly to the semifinal? Let's meet the teams. For Canada, at lead is Jeff Walker. Playing at second stone is Brett Gallant. At third, Mark Nichols. And at skip, Brad Gushue. They're taking on China. Lead, Xiao Xilin. Xu Xingtao is at second stone. Xiao Shang is at third. Xiao Dixia is the skip of Team China. Here are the standings. Scotland, Sweden, and Canada, the letter Q, indicating they have already qualified for the playoffs. Norway at 6-4, Russia at 5-3, Switzerland at 5-4, Korea, China 3-6. A must-win for them to keep any faint hope of a playoff berth alive. We'll keep an eye on all of the matches for you. Germany is taking on Japan on Sheet A. Sheet B, Italy takes on the United States. Our feature match, Canada takes on China. And on Sheet D, a big game, Sweden playing Russia at the Orleans Arena here in Las Vegas. A real international feel here in Las Vegas, as you would expect for a World Championships. Teams exchanging handshakes. Hans Frauenlob here on the call with Sander Rolvag. And Sander, big game. And what are you expecting to see this afternoon?
Well, we saw China this morning with a very heavy defeat against Sweden. So they'll be looking forward to ping back from that. But Canada had the morning off. They'll be looking quite fresh and ready. So got to favour Canada for this one, but hopefully China can turn it around from this morning and give us a good game.
Yeah, China really did take a pasting at the hands of Niklas Edin in Sweden this morning. China, however, have earned last rock advantage here in the first end. Last rock is decided by virtue of last stone draws. The teams throw at the end of their pregame practice session. China got the better of that, so they'll have the hammer in the first end this afternoon. Brad Gushue, though, defending world champions. Won the World Championship last year in Edmonton in their home country of Canada. Now they're on the road in the USA, but there is a strong Canadian contingent that have made the trip down to Las Vegas to support their team. They will be vocal this afternoon, I am sure, as their team tries to get their place locked into the top two. Canada have yet to play Sweden, and that's setting up like a collision course game, Sander, in terms of who might make the top two. Scotland is also there on a single loss, so still wide open here in terms of the seedings for the playoff phase.
Yeah, it just means every game is so important for a team like Canada to stay in the fight for the top two.
Canada will play the Red Stones and China will play the Yellowstones. So it will be Canada getting us underway. Canadian lead is Jeff Walker.
Canada, by far the best team in the draw shot challenge so far this week. More than half of what the next team have in terms of average distance from the button. But they have lost their third hammer now. this afternoon.
China does have the hammer. Let's see what they do. They're going to go to the wing. It's a conservative play, but that's what we've seen consistently from this Chinese team with last rock in the first end all week long. They like to try to play for a blank in the first. Here's Zhao Xilin. Prefer to try to blank. Well, yes, it will be a draw to the wing.
Of course, the draw shot challenge could help Canada if they end up in a bit of a tail bite where you have 3 teams on the same record and they've all beaten each other. Then Canada would go out the first ranked of those 3 teams. So obviously quite a few games left in it. So not going to be expecting what's going to happen at this stage.
Well, it is a possibility, and it's a secondary tiebreak. The primary tiebreak is always the head-to-head record between the teams in the round robin. It is a full 12-game round robin here at the 361 World Men's 13-team event. But as Sander was saying, if head-to-head records can't separate it, the secondary tiebreak criteria is the draw shots. The important thing for the athletes, it's always based on what you do on the ice. On-ice performance breaks ties.
Obviously Canada coming out really aggressive here. I think you'll see most teams hit that open yellow in the first end, but they'll throw a second center guard. That's on purpose as well. That was called for.
So Canada really throwing down the gauntlet to the Chinese here in the first, saying, okay, we know you guys are going to try and throw it wide and play for the blank. We're going to press you, make you play around the center by throwing a second guard. So this should be an entertaining first end. China are here by virtue of qualifying in as the silver medalists at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. That event was won by Korea, Kim Chang-min's team, who are also competing here this week. Half a round, nice shot.
It was a crazy final.
It was. Sander and I called that game, and it was one to remember. Here is Brett Gallant, the second player for Canada. China held a 5-point lead in that game, and one of the most amazing comebacks you will ever see. Korea turned it around and won the game. This one's really making a move. It's going to roll past the guards and into the open. Slides into second shot position. Yellowstone belonging to the Chinese is shot rock. And they've got the hammer here in the first. Xu Xingtao, second player for China, 25 years of age. Just grazing the top stone, leaving themselves sitting third shot. Here are the rules of play. 10 end games, but 6 ends have to be played at a minimum, and each team has 38 minutes of thinking time. Each team has 1 60-second timeout. Gallant's going to make a play on the Chinese stone sitting in the open. Looking for a bit of an inside roll behind the pile. They're close. Very nice shot by Brett Gallant, biting the front of the button, fully behind cover. There's the Canadian second player surveying his work. It's half a rock, nice control weight, leaves the roll fully buried. Xu Xingtao running back a front stone now. Looking for contact on the Canadian shooter, but it's going to blow by. Opens up the shot rock.
Okay.
Gushu taking a look at the stones to see whose second shot pretty sure it's the Yellowstone.
Yeah. You're still pretty good, Jeff.
Looking to throw a tight guard. Mark Nichols, third player for Canada. He and Brad have been curling together for a very long time, and hard to think of a more successful back-end combination than Brad Gushue and Mark Nichols.
Yeah, well, he did quit curling, I believe, in 2011. Going quickly back, ended up playing lead for Jeff Stoughton for a while, and then back together with Brad Gushue in that in 2014, and that put Britt Gallant down to second.
Xiao Chang.
I have to say they've been pretty successful after they were reunited. Picked up their first Brier win last season, and also the World Championship.
And that Brier victory coming in their home province of Newfoundland.
And
A lot of Newfoundlanders have made the trip here to Las Vegas this week, and they're quite happy to see Mark Nichols back paired up with their favorite native son, Brad Gushue.
Well, I was there at the Brier in St. John's. It was magical. It was the best curling event I've ever been to. And to see Gushue finally win at home, and it had been 30 years or something since Newfoundland had won a Brier.
Yep, since Jack McDuff in the 1970s.
So Brier being the Canadian Championship, and that is what they won this year as well to qualify for this World Championship.
Line's good. Fighting the floor. Yep. Really curling now.
After the Chinese stone
Hard, guys. Looks real light.
picked the stone in the 8-foot circle off the rings, Nichols now trying to wrap one around the center guard. Probably about 2 feet lighter than he would have liked, but a pretty good shot, half around the center guard. The 8-foot circle is available for China. They've got the hammer here in one. Sandra, you were mentioning off the opening the very tough morning that this Chinese foursome, they ran into an informed Nicholas Edin and never in it. Dropped a 4 in the first end. We'll take a look at the split times here. Stopwatches are legal in curling. Players use it. They will time between 2 different points on the ice, give them an idea how far the rock is sliding. We're looking about 14.5 to T-line, 13.9 on that one.
It runs a tad slower sometimes on the very first end.
Good looking stone here. Beauty. Nearly fully buried. So we'll keep an eye on that draw shot pace for you on and off through the game.
14. What kind of speed do I need here?
线稍微不快一点，但是提拔点，提前要下点的话就停一会。
Little less, Mark. Okay.
Brad Gushue, defending world champion, Olympic gold medalist.
Take some off. Bit of room. Close. Weight's good. Yep. Yep.
Bit of a setup shot here. Doing 2 things, closing down the scoring area for China, but also potentially giving them a chance to move the shot stone on their next.
Cruises to the nose of the Chinese stone. Barely got by that stone at the top of the 12-foot. Might have even grazed it going by. Good weight. So now the scoring area very small indeed for Zhou Dejia. See how those red stones are lined up. Runbacks galore for Canada. And Zhou takes his trip back to the hack. Let's look in at Sweden versus Russia. Important game. Sweden's already qualified for the playoffs, but Russia trying to win their way in. Final stone here for Sweden's Niklas Edin. It's an open hit for 2. No problem there. 2 points on the board for the Swedes. They're up 2-0 after 1. We'll keep an eye on that one for you. Xiao and Zhu on the brushes. China electing to protect their shot rock. Trying to bring this as deep as they can. Take away some of the angles on those runs. Might have done just enough to avoid the triple run.
Probably draw right there. Anywhere short's the option, eh?
Yeah. I think so.
That stone just curling enough to take away the red combination. Might just still be there if you wanted to play it.
Where he can't nose it and get second shot. You know what I mean? Then he'd have to draw like.
Even if you're here, there's nothing. Like,
No, but he could draw. I'm just saying to cut down his button.
oh, I know.
If we can get there, cut down his button.
Brad Gushu telling us where he wants it. Front of the button, cut down the button, he says. China still has that jump shot on the yellow stone to the right of our picture. They could hit half and roll into the 4-foot area, but Gushu says, if I draw into the button, even that shot's not a shot for 2.
Like I think even if we get like if I'm a foot heavy and we get around it, I'm not sure he'd be able to get 2. But I like
Fight the button.
Yeah, I like kind of just overlapping it a little bit.
So you just give us 2 or 3 more feet.
Yep.
Sandra, this is all about trying to make a shot for 2. Really difficult for China.
Yeah, just take away the draw. Because this draw Gush is playing now is basically the draw China would love to play for their 2. So just going to place this just beside his own red, slightly past it. Gush knows how to throw these a bit light and use the big front end of Jeff Walker and Brett Gallant to guide the stone in.
Back 4. Back 4.
Hold in. Line's good. Line's good.
Great looking line.
Back button.
Hold in.
Around it.
Just nudges the Chinese stone and actually sits in shot rock position. But maybe 6 inches deeper than he would have wanted.
Yeah.
Sitting on the tee line, and now a chance for China to play, back 4-foot weight. Push the Canadian stone off the button and still maybe score there too.
Yeah, just that. Just want it to be a couple of inches past their own red, not the yellow. So definitely a chance for So Deja to put 2 on the board to be a lot better start than this morning.
That's true. Dropped a 4 this morning in the first end, but chance for the Chinese to score 2 here.
Even if we get around, then he's got to make a cold draw.
Gushu and company discussing what happened on their shot, but now it's in the hands of Shodeja. Final stone of the first end. Delicate but makeable shot for 2 here. Great looking line. Has he got enough weight to push it off the button? Will it curl enough? No, it won't. It will be a score of 1 for China. Single point for the Chinese. Good weight, didn't curl enough. It's only a single, but China opens their account with a 1 after 1 end of play. China won. Canada no score.
再收点点，还得再收点点。
Just closer to center. Brad's first one's closer to center. Just sort of come down a little bit. Yeah. A little farther out, I think it's slightly better.
Yours was never close to center, really.
I mean, mine was good line.
Yeah, it's a good line. Like, whereas Brad's the side of button. If your line was side of button, I wouldn't be surprised if you went a little further.
Yeah.
He was side of button.
No, he wouldn't. He would have been covered in pin if it was deep line.
Well, we were trying to go side of button line.
Where were we trying to go?
The rock was off center line. We were trying to go around it.
Just?
Rock was off center by that.
Probably a little tight.
The line was good.
Yeah, just stop.
It just stopped.
It
surprised we changed turns.
I was too. I thought so.
No, because I just played the end on the guard. I know it's probably a different path, but good for us. His second one, he was just really light on it. It's skip. Did you get one mixed up?
He must have got it.
15. Yeah, I got 15, 15-3 or 15-4.
I got 15-3-6, yeah.
I got it.
I was surprised. Surprised his first one.
Xiao Jilin, lead player for China, gets us underway in the second end of this 10-end game. We are live from Las Vegas, Nevada, curling in the desert. Swimming pools and cocktails and movie stars and showtime in walking distance from the arena, but inside some of the best curlers in the world duking it out for a world championship. Canada with last rock here in the second. Hans Franlub here. I'm joined by Sander Rolvag. And Sander, China's not going to get many chances to cash in multiple point ends. Had a little chance there in the first. Tough but makeable deuce, but only got the one. How do you think they'll play the second end?
Well, I think they'll try and be a little bit cautious, not keep too many Canadian stones around. See if they can get the force, tie the game, get the hammer back and try again. I don't think you'll see them play too aggressively without the hammer. Just knowing the abilities of especially the back end of Canada to cash in when they have hammer. Canada's only given up 3 steals so far in the championship, so
it's very impressive. We're deep into the tournament now. Only giving up 3 steals, that's impressive.
Canada also having the best last stone efficiency in the field, meaning they score 2 points or more quite often, more than anyone else. They're at 60% for that, where Scotland is second best at 48, so they're
It's quite a gap.
Yeah, they're the most efficient team when they have last stone for sure.
Jeff Walker. Canada does have last stone here in the second.
You gotta bounce it off this. Hard. Gotta bounce it, guys. Gotta bounce it.
This one's over curling. It's going to bump the front Chinese stone. Just not quite corner frozen. Tiny bump there. China lies 2. Just as you predicted, Sander. Shodasha. I don't like the looks of that corner guard. Wouldn't mind a bit of an inside roll. Clog up the center. There are 2 Chinese stones in the rings.
Yeah, it's kind of playing 2 shots in one here.
2
Instead
for
of
1
just ripping the guard or placing a center guard, you're trying to do both. A lot tougher, but very effective if you can do it. Just gotta make sure not to roll too far and leave a corner on the other side. But does roll out.
Yeah, comes out of play. Caught that one a little too thin. Well, this couple are winning our prize for the most innovative costuming of the week. I think we got some minions in the crowd. They come dressed as San Francisco hippies. I've seen them dressed as the Flintstones. I've seen them dressed as Where's Waldo? So I've seen them dressed as the Easter Bunny on Easter Sunday. So
Oh, yeah.
they're definitely winning the prize for most innovative costuming here. Inside the arena anyway. We've got some pretty innovative costuming outside the arena. We are in Las Vegas after all. Brett Gallant. Just gently rearranging the stones, pushing the Chinese stone out of play. Rolling his shooter in front of the promoted stone. And 3/4 guarding it. Nice shot. There's the Chinese bench. Coach Marcel Rock. 3 coffees in front of him. Looking intently. Shushin Tao.
Three-time world champion himself, Marcel Rock.
One
02,
coffee
03, 05. Yeah, one coffee per
for
goal.
every goal.
That's fair enough.
Yes, I've had a sighting of his skip from that team as we look at the Canadian bench, and Jules Oucher, the coach. Marcel, a member of Randy Furby's rank, and I saw Mr. Furby in the house last night. He's come down to watch the end of the tournament, so not unexpectedly, the world is gravitating to Las Vegas as near the end of the curling season. We're here at the 361 World Men's Curling Championship. Why wouldn't you want to be here?
Not bad. Got a curl now.
Weight's good. Line's fine. Weight's good.
Room line short.
Yep.
Canada trying to patiently build up their deuce. They've got last rock here in the second.
Good shot, Brett. Nice weight. Nice go.
Choosing to guard their own stone.
Nice leaving, guys. But not bad either. I was with you on light.
Yeah, it slid pretty good.
Xiaodeja will again ask for Xiaoqing to clear the corner this time. This Chinese team from Harbin, north of China. I think it's serious winters in Harbin. Home of the world famous ice festival where they make incredible ice sculptures.
That's what I was thinking.
Entire buildings made out of ice. It's quite a spectacle. Mark Nichols.
Out there. Whoa, Brett. Whoa, Brett. Right here. Line's tight. Right here. Whoa, leave it then. Line's good. Oh, line's we're over 12.
Wushu continuing the strategy of trying to guard the shot rock to save the deuce. This one's going to slide into the rings, however. So now it's a chance for the Chinese to run a pretty straightforward straight back double to kill both Canadian stones. It's a bit of a mistake there from Nichols. A little heavy. Xiaoqing needs to hit this one on the nose. Lots of weight. Not laying a brush to it. This one is going to go across the top, jams it and stuffs it. Leaves the Canadian stone sitting second shot. See a little bit of wry disappointment in the face of Shell.
I think we have to play this for now. You throw a guard, it kind of takes away the intern at it. Draw there. I don't hate that either. Problem with the hit, he's going to have a double no matter where you go. Want to try and draw there? I think we try it, yeah.
You can never hit the other one, eh?
I also don't hate this. Well, that's what Brett just said. I don't mind that either. You got to roll in a little bit, though.
Goose is saying you got to roll in a little bit. Got to get on the rings if you make a play at this stone. Well, after a bit of discussion between drawing the wing,
a little bit of movement, not a whole lot though, Mark.
hitting the shooter, and then ultimately hitting the stone on the wings. They are going to hit this stone on the wings. Looking to roll about one rock to the inside to get it on the rings themselves. Mark Nichols.
No.
Yes, just to keep the blank alive. If China does make a double, they could potentially blank the end. Try again in the third.
Get the inside roll. Again, sitting directly in front of their own stone. Canada is lying second and third shot now.
Getting closer and closer, this double attempt for China.
Yeah, it's almost too close now from the Chinese perspective. Have to hit this one pretty thin now to make the double. Hit it thin, you might lose your shooter in the process. Should be able to spring the top stone if he can hit at 3/4 and hard. Save his shooter off to the left-hand side of the rings as we look at it.
大力，打俩为主。
Shodasha. He's made a lot of big shots this week. Okay, make another one here. Double takeout. Will he stick around? Just rolling off the wings. Let's look in live at Sweden versus Russia. Two Swedish stones in the rings. Here's Alexei Timofeyev lining up a double takeout here, Sanders. He's going to try for his two.
Looks to be. It's pretty flat though. You need to throw quite a bit of weight here to jump across.
Nose is it. Let's wait for the confirmation on the score. It is a steal for Sweden. Sweden now leads at 3-0.
Right to it, right to it, right to it. Roll it, Brett.
So this end looking very blank-like after the Chinese roll out on the double takeout. Only one rock in play. That's the stone biting the forefoot. We're in the second end. China's leading at 1-0. Canada with last rock here in the second. They will look to keep last rock into the third. No problem here for show. Looking to change the shot a little bit. Just leaves it on the nose. So now it's down to Brad Gushu, who is already in the hack, ready to throw. Shodasha accepts. He's going to throw that. Always getting feedback, that's very important. Gushu ready to throw. Last stone coming up. Going to try to hit half the rock and roll out.
Yep.
Clean it, clean it. Good.
No panic in the voices. Blank is executed by Canada. No score in the second end. Canada blanks. They'll keep last rock into the third. After 2 ends of play, it's China 1. Canada no score.
It was probably more than yours, yes. He slid tight and kind of set it out, but I thought he got on a decent line. But it was certainly a tighter path than where your draw went down.
I never saw him drag. He said he never dragged.
But no, it's just around the button area. They never overlapped
touched it once.
Yeah. They didn't do it 4 times like they do down the. Yeah.
Basic button.
Yeah, it's just a button area, like basically right down where I threw that board. I think that's why it came down so much.
Canadian skip Brad Gushu looking on. Bit pensive. Pretty cool customer, Brad Gushu. We're here in the Orleans Arena. Curling in the desert. This has been such a big year for USA Curling Center. Not only hosting this World Championship, first time the Worlds has been here in a number of years in the USA. But there's been such a wave of positivity following the gold medal victory of John Schuster and company. The U.S. is seeing amazing responses around the country to try out curling, have a go at curling type activities, and it can only bode well for the future of the sport here in the USA.
It's good.
Good. Good job, Jeff.
Good boy, Jeff.
Real nice.
Playing good away from center. Yes, it's just a little fast. Like,
Similar setup to the previous end in the early going. Chinese stone into the rings, Canada with the corner guard. But just to give you an idea of what that U.S. response has been, listen to some of these numbers. Do some quick shout outs for our American friends. Bowling Green, Ohio at the Bowling Green Curling Club. They had 1,000 people out to try a learn to curl session after the Olympics. The Coyotes Curling Club in Arizona, more desert curling. 1,600 people came out to try curling. Evergreen Curling in Oregon. 500 people showed up to that three-sheet curling club to try and join in the fun.
Hopefully not at the same time.
Yeah, that'd be a bit busy. Be late into the night. More warm weather curling. The Peachtree Curling Club in Georgia, Atlanta. 1,000 new curlers. 3 new leagues. All on the back of the interest post the Olympic Games. Great freeze here. Canada freezes the Chinese stone top the 8-foot. Bardsley, New York, 800 people.
Jeff, I think that grabbed a little.
Nutmeg Curling Club in Connecticut, 1,200. 120 new members. Fantastic stuff.
it just came down a hair like.
The next Winter Olympics, of course, will be in China at Beijing. Xu Xingtao.
5-6，小巧，5-6，往里的，5-6，6-7，下线，好，下线，
Just looking to nudge this a bit and change the angle a bit. Very nice shot.
Okay. Board here, board weight. Last one with board was pretty good weight.
Yeah.
Stone might have popped off just enough to allow Brett Gallant to make a pass at it. It's going to throw board weight at this.
Weight's good. Maybe a little hard.
Close. Good weight. Yep.
Hard. Yes. Really hard. Hard. Really hard. Hard. Hard.
Got to get by that center guard. Just past it. Oh, very nice roll. Gets it half behind the red corner guard. Canada are in business.
Wasn't light.
They've got the hammer here in the third. They got something going. Let's have a look at the replay. It's half. Rolls across the face of the two stones on the center line, but look at this. Tucks a corner behind the corner guard. Rock rolls another half a rock further, and it is locked in there, but Xu Xingtao is going to make it play at it. You can see about 2/3. Gotta catch it thin. Is he gonna push it out of the rings? Will it go? Just. That was a bit dainty. Loses the shooter in the process.
Like 7.5, eh?
Let's look in at Germany versus Japan. Go Aoki. Japan leading at 1-0. Yellow rocks belong to Japan, and it'll be a draw for one attempt here for Alexander Baumann of Germany. Canada trying to run back. Rearrange the stones a bit, get some separation. Let's see what happens with Bauman's draw. And the Germans bring the stone into the red 4-foot circle. Single point for them, and that one's tied up at 1. Replay on the Canadian stone. We wanted to hit that target rock a little harder, Sander, but just caught it thin. Leaves the Chinese stone in the 4-foot. China playing the guard. Xiaoju really working this one. Shou jumping in now. Help with the sweeping. Trying to make sure they cover the hole. Might have just. Gushu looking at
Hope
the.
he misses again. It's kind of. I like this.
Play like normal?
What's that?
Do you like normal?
Sure.
Just thinking if we could ever roll the shooter
Yeah.
behind there too.
Pretty well right on the nose, Mark.
Yeah.
Which turn do you like?
I think the end.
Will be the double raise.
I like the end too. I like this.
Red onto yellow.
Yeah.
Nichols
So a little
saying
more than what I gave you last time.
A little bit. You don't feel, you know.
might even be able to roll our shooter behind cover if he can hit the inside of the yellow rock. Double raise takeout attempt here from Mark Nichols, one of the best in the game at this kind of shot. This one has a bit of curling to do, though.
Oh, it's just
Nope.
Okay. That's a bit of a risky shot for me. Didn't mind even just double ripping the two guards. They're sitting pretty nice with the corner. Stone in the house. You might even, could have even played that double ripped, and you're lucky come off the yellow tap that red center guard into the house as well. It's always a bit of a risk playing that soft weight, leaving the shooter as a guard.
Well, he certainly did that. Chinese shot rock pretty well defended right now. There's a Canadian stone in the 8-foot sitting in front of it. Canada does have the hammer here in the 3rd. Sao Chang looking for the guard. Sliding in near the rings, stopping just short.
that over the top.
I like that. Yeah, you got to do that.
You gotta keep this open.
Yep.
That's thin.
Got an important game going on next door. Sweden versus Russia. Sweden with a 3-0 lead and 2 stones in the rings. Tough afternoon so far for Alexei Timofeyev. This is live, drawing against 2.
Right off. Whoa.
Good brushing by the Russians. They bring that in for a single point. Sweden leading that one 3-1. And Nichols with another miss. Tried an angle run. Picked his own stone, pushed it out of the rings. To the back of the rings anyways. So some errors creeping in. Let's take another look at it. Red onto yellow onto red, but it pushes the red stone back through the rings. Needed to catch that one a bit thicker, Sander, and all of a sudden for China now you're starting to think steel.
Certainly don't hear that sentence too often. Another miss from Nichols.
That's absolutely right.
But yeah, great setup here. Come around that center guard and sit 2.
Shou Xiao wanting to sink this one around that center guard in front of his own stone.
And really important to keep this in front of the tee line. Pretty much anywhere top house here. Just don't want to leave Gushu a draw to get out of this mess.
Xiao and Zhu, no line yet, so they're holding off on the sweep. Now they're sweeping for a little bit of cover if they can get it. Trying to wrap it around that top stone. Comes to rest, just biting the forefoot. Maybe showing a quarter of the rock to the Canadians, but on a good angle. Difficult for Canada to make a play on the front stone without jamming onto the stone in the back of the forefoot. Brad Gushu. As it so often happens in curling, sometimes as the skip you got to bail your team out, and this is a definite bailout opportunity here for Brad Gushu. He's going to run back that center stone, the red stone at the very top of our picture. Going to try to drive it straight back. There's a fantastic look at it.
He's looking a bit stern on the way to the hack here.
Yeah,
not happy with how this end set up for his team.
Absolutely right, Sander.
Yep. Hard, Jeff. Hard. Yeah. Hard.
Trying to hit it low side, but they're on this one immediately. He's going to drive it on the second shot. He's going to spill it out of the rings. China still lying one. Opens up the shot rock.
That certainly helps.
Yeah, I think he's got to guard it. And then we got to either draw for one or an angle raise for 10.
It's tough to guard as well.
What's your play in this situation, Sander?
Well, this is where you kind of want to put it top 12, kind of half buried, leave a bit of a stagger, or what they would call a Christmas tree in Canada. But it's quite hard to get there because the guards are pretty high. There's a small gap. There's a good chance you'll over curl. And I believe that back red's in play as well. It's in the house.
So you don't want to leave it in the open. That would give Canada a double takeout opportunity. They could score two. That back stone just on the rings.
So what I think you're doing here is you're playing guarding the yellow, but if you could ever bring it a little bit further than the two guards up front, take away the run for Gushu to score two, that's pretty perfect. But you can see them pointing at top 12, so they are in fact trying this stagger.
Line important. First they got to get by the corner guard, or they by that stone. Just. Now they're sweeping for curl, trying to wrap around the top stone. That is a great shot.
That is really good, and you know that's exactly the spot you want to put it. But you saw how close you had to be to that guard. That's a brave call.
Just feathered that guard, barely got by. Xu Xingtao on the brushing, great job. Taking a breather. Watch how close this comes to wrecking on the corner guard. Just squeaks past it. And now Zhu sweeping for the curl, trying to wrap it as much as he can. Watch again. So close to that guard, just past it. And look how much it finishes. Terrific shot. And Canada now forced to draw for one.
It had to be that close to get there. That's why I thought they would just play a guard. It'll be a little bit safer, but perfect result.
Brad Gushu drawing against two. Final stone of end number 3. An end that has not gone the Canadians' way. Can Gushu pull this one out?
Line's good. Line. Line's good. Line's good. Line's good. T-line. Put on the T.
Gallant and Walker, they've got the responsibility for distance. They're pretty happy with it. To the delight of the Canadian fans in the crowd, Brad Gushu draws a piece of the button to save the one. And that's a moral victory for China. They get the force. They force the Canadians to a single point. After 3 ends of play, we are tied at 1.
Missed 2 of mine by a millimeter.
洗啥的。
Let's have another look at that final stone of Brad Gushu in the third end.
Easy. Whoa, line. Whoa, Brad. Whoa, line. Line's good. Whoa, line. Line's good. Line's good. Line's good. T-line. We're on a T.
Gushu knew how important this one was. Did not want to give up the steal. That's a bit of relief. Pulled them out of the fire after an end that was a bit of a struggle for the Canadians. Let's see what happens here in the fourth. Nice crowd in here on a Thursday afternoon. We're heading to the business end of the round robin phase of the 3-6-1 World Men's Curling Championships. We are live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Our feature match, Canada versus China. Second game of the day for this Chinese team. And they had a very rough morning.
Nice weight, Jeff.
Nicholas Adine
You took it. Like,
took them to the woodshed this morning with a 10-2 victory. But they have bounced back this afternoon, and they are looking like a team with some purpose, Sander. They're playing brave shots and making them. And they're tied at 1 now. They got the hammer back.
At the same time, Canada's not really on form quite yet. They've missed quite a few more shots than you would expect. But if China can keep the pressure on, this could be a pretty close affair. And they'll throw the corner guard here, so not afraid to put stones in play when they have the last on advantage.
Sure, the advice from their coach, Marcel Rock, who is from Canada, would have been to the team, just go for it. Play your game, don't be afraid of these guys. Jeff Walker, 90% for the tournament. Marcel would have told his team, you've got all the shots, play with confidence, and they certainly are this afternoon. Canada choosing to stack the center guards. So now they have a long guard and a short guard. Perfectly arranged on that center line, makes it very tough for China to play a double clear if they wanted to.
Well, the thing about being a reigning world champion and also being from Canada is you always have a target on your back, so teams will go out there and try and play the best against you, but also sometimes give you a bit too much respect, and you'll catch breaks because of it. So it just depends on the mindset of the team that comes out to play.
Shonijia holding the target for his lead. Xiao Shilin, 87% for the tournament. He's having a very solid tournament.
It's also the mindset. Let's say if China's the underdog coming into this game, they might be thinking, all right, we gotta have to play our very best to beat these guys, while Canada might be thinking, well, we should win this game. That's two very different mindsets to come into a game.
Absolutely right. Trying to get by the center guard, but they're just going to nudge it. Leaves their own stone just short of the rings. Gushu immediately saying, let's come around on the intern side. Draw behind the pile.
Two center guards from Canada though, in the fourth end tied game, so not afraid to get some stones in play. All they want to do is force here.
Galant, 84% for the tournament.
We're seeing that more and more as well in the double centers. That's something we only used to see in the 10th end or an extra end when you needed to steal, but because the teams are so good with their up weights now, doubling guards, clearing things up, that's what you have to do now to get something going.
Well, Canada definitely has something going here. Very nice come around there by Brett Gallant. Perfect. Front button right behind the center guard. So Shonijia makes his way up to the long guard to start the process of tidying up. Great shot by Gallant. Xu Xingtao, 77% for the tournament. Makes the clear.
right here.
Let's have a look in at Italy and the home team, Team USA.
Oh, okay.
Looks Looks like 3 American stones in the rings facing Amos Mosaner of Italy. This Italian team competed at the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. This American team, Greg Persinger, won the U.S. Nationals. The Olympic champions John Schuster electing not to play in that event. Nice shot there by the Italians, and they score a single point. That one's tied at 1. Canada replacing the center guard. They've got one buried behind those guards on the button. Xu Jingtao. Going across the face this time, looking for some action on those stones behind, but nothing doing. That yellow stone just short of the rings. There for the Chinese to use perhaps a bit later for a potential run-in.
Okay. No. I think the one slides a little better.
Canadian players just checking which stone they want to throw. Mark Nichols, 88% for the tournament. Sometimes the players always choose the same 2 stones to throw for the game, but sometimes one stone will have a slightly different running characteristic than the other stone. So we heard Mark Nichols saying the one slides a bit more freely. I'll use that one on this shot.
Go, a little more. Not really hooked. Okay, good.
Another good center guard by the Canadians.
I was way out of mine too. Yeah. That was wider than yours.
So Canada with a much better 4th end than the previous end so far. China has been chasing really from the get-go. All started with that decision to play that long center guard right off the bat, Sander, and that's been going ever since. China's been chasing. Zhao Chang at 82%.
Yeah. Couldn't make that draw around the center on the first goal. Didn't help.
Well, look at this. Moves 3 stones, pops the Canadian shot rock out to the edge of the 8-foot. But it's still green light go for Brad Gushu. 3 stones in front of the rings and pretty inviting.
Maybe even
Look at the replay. Needed to catch a little bit thinner. He would have removed the Canadian shot completely from the rings, but he leaves it in the 8-foot. China's got last rock here in the 4th, but Canada now with a great opportunity. Throw another one behind center guards. Make life really tough for China.
Line's not good right now. Needs a curl big.
Go, go, go. Hard, Jeff. You got it.
Hard. Go. Yeah, keep going. Hard. Get as much out of it as you can, guys. Hard, hard, hard.
Trying to take this as deep as they can.
Not throwing it, eh? Not throwing it.
Again, Nichols a little wayward. Wanted that one up into the 4-foot. Let's take a look at the hard work of Jeff Walker and Brett Gallant.
Hard. Go. Yeah, keep going.
Walker says it's only top 12. Keep going, says Mark. As far as they could take it.
Not throwing it, eh? Not throwing it.
Just not throwing it, said Mark. Half open. Xiaoshang. Look in his biography, he's a bit of a basketball fan. One of his sporting heroes, Tracy McGrady, T-Mac from the basketball world. Pushes the Canadian stone through the rings. Nice touch there. China's second shot now in the front of the 12-foot, but they removed the Canadian counter. That was probably the most dangerous one.
Probably going to end up getting there when we get through there.
It's okay.
You like this?
Brad Gushu says that looks pretty inviting.
What's that?
You don't. The outturns no better.
No, that's tough.
Outturn is tough. Gushu's going to try and draw between the red and the yellow stones into the 4-foot area.
I know it's come back with either one of them. We could also just nose this for now, but
Mark under through that. It's probably pretty quicker than you passed it through last time. Probably draw the button speed after it repeated.
Want this kind of on the T line almost?
yeah, top four, top button. You like an inch more, or are you good with that?
Good with that.
Good speed down here?
It is nice, yeah.
Good speed, just nice. Final confirmation of the weight that he wants to throw. Brad Gushu, 85% for the tournament. Wants this one top 4 foot.
Close. Whoa. Whoa. Lay out the yellow then. Yeah.
Needs to curl to get by the Yellowstone at the top of the 12 foot. Now it's moving.
Whoa. Whoa then. Whoa.
This one will not curl enough. Bumps the Chinese stone. Gets a roll. Does he get second shot? I think he did just. Red stone on the center line, just out counting the Yellowstone.
Or was it at the end? Back button? T line?
Back 4, probably.
Are we second shot?
I believe so.
Second shot.
I believe so too,
bad.
Brent.
Probably splitting T line by the end. I think it was still a little more.
China's got last rock. Canada line 2. Would you ever try to run the Yellowstone in on the backstone sander and get an inside roll? It's a bit of a risky shot.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
It's a fun shot. It's fun to look at from up here.
I think you're probably better off just drawing.
Definitely the easier way to get undercover. So China will need full 8 foot to be shot. Coming down the path that Gushu just tried. Gushu just fractionally heavy with his. Let's see what Shou Tishak can do. He's 80% for the tournament. But he loves throwing these draws. This team really rely on their sweeping. This one's got lots of weight. It's going to slide deep. Will it even stay in the 8 foot? No, it will not. It's going to slide all the way to the back ring. And, well, completely through. Nicholas Edin looking on. He's already qualified. He's got an interest in the outcome of this game. Sweden yet to play the Canadians.
I think we need more. I do.
Mistake there from the Chinese. Big chance now for Canada, Sander.
Might get a little more finish.
That stone at the back, it's in play, but it's off the rings. Has to go completely across that back line to come out of play. So Brad Gushu.
Just cover the pin. Put on the pinhole.
Good news for him. He threw just down this path a moment ago.
The pinhole would be nice. Give you 3 to 4 feet less, do you think?
Yeah.
Big mistake there for China. Let's see if Canada punishes it.
No, it's not that much.
You got a bit of room.
Top button.
Whoa, line.
Once again,
line.
waiting for it before they can call sweeping.
Low line.
Only Brad.
Stone has to
Whoa, you're
curl.
still on the yellow.
Whoa.
Still on the yellow one, says Mark.
Whoa. Yep.
Now they're by it. They were hoping to feather it because it's a little bit heavy. Slides to the back of the 4 foot. Canada lies 3, but that's a mistake from Gushu. That's about 2 feet heavier than he wanted.
Oh, yeah. I gotta...
Again, we saw how close that came to that guard stone, Sander.
Yeah, I don't think Sodeja needs to be as close.
No, he doesn't.
Canada probably play this end for a force, and that's what they're getting, so they should be happy. But of course, when an end is setting up like that, you want to take advantage, maybe steal.
Shodajan needs a piece from a full 4 foot to score a single point. Final stone here in the 4th. China switching now, trying to promote a little bit more curl. Now they're sweeping for distance. They've got backing. No problem there. Very nice shot by Xiaodisha. Drawing to the Canadian stone for a single point. But Canada gets the force. No deuces yet in this game after 4 ends of play. China 2, Canada 1.
不然太底线了，我看下不来。主要我寻思这球有点磕一点。对。我第一个球出门就顶着能分。不差。你看很接近那个站位果，我还让你带着点，我说很接近线。就是贴这边线。这块儿。行。力量太大。我俩这边有点。但是那得出来那个标那就开始差不多。
We are live from Las Vegas, Nevada at the 361 World Men's Curling Championship 2018. Our feature match, Canada taking on China. Nice crowd here on a Thursday afternoon in Vegas. Hans Frauenlaub here, I'm joined by Sander Ulvagen. Sander, I think you made a very good point. Long week here in Vegas, and crowds are starting to roll in here later in the week. And Sander pointed out it's hard to make your money last for 9 days in Las Vegas, but roll in on a Thursday night, stay till Sunday, 4-day weekend. It kind of works well. Fans from all around the world here to see the best. Jeff Walker.
Not curling yet though, so it might be okay. Still not curling. There you go.
Thanks, sir.
We've all enjoyed our time in Las Vegas so far. So much to do here. Corner guard. Canada with the hammer here on end number 5. China leading it 2-1. Xiao Shilin.
5，下楼 OK， 继续套，56，下线，2，2，2。
Love to wrap around that stone on the top of the 12-foot. There's a look at the crowd. A lot of red maple leaves in the crowd today, as you'd imagine, but we see some Swedish flags, some American flags. Fans here from everywhere. Give us a wave, folks. There you are. Nice to have you with us here in the arena and around the world.
Whoa, solid. Whoa, right off.
Jeff Walker. These stones in the rings, no free guard zone protection for them, so fair play for the Canadians to hit away. Doesn't make the double though. Leaves his own stone sitting in front of that Chinese rock.
He really wanted, their two could have drawn around the corner, but probably thinking, again, to keep the blank in the back of their head here, Canada. 5th end wouldn't be too bad to blank, carry the hammer into halftime and start scoring in the even ends, but they'll take their 2 if they can. Just don't want to take the risk of getting forced in this 5th end.
Xu Jingtao. Mentioned the next Winter Olympics are going to be in Beijing. I saw an interview earlier this week, Sander, involving World Curling Federation President Kate Caithness, and she's in regular conversation with sport officials in China in the lead up to the Beijing Olympics. China are going to be making a huge effort in increasing winter sport participation in China. And Kate was quoted as saying they're going to be building 500 new ice rinks in China, and she's hopeful that a fair number of them will have facilities for curling there. So China really looking to ramp up participation in winter sports ahead of the Beijing Games.
Might be behind it, Brad.
Trying to wrap around the corner guard. This one's got a bit of steam on it, though. Will it stop in front of the tee line? It looks like it's going to slide just past. Brett Gallant.
That's that cutter.
Heard Mark Nichols say that's the cutter. That's curling shorthand for a stone that curls a little bit more than all the other ones. Curled out the other side. So Xu Jingtao can see about half of this one. He'll be playing just gentle weight on his intern. Let his sweepers come into play. Shota Jean immediately saying, no, no, no. This one is tracking wide. Xiao Qiang trying to sweep for curl. Xiao Shilin waving it. It's the most he can do. Well, the waving worked. Curled just enough. And China lies too. Guishu asking Gallant to come around that corner guard again. Stones accumulating out, Sanders, so maybe a little bit tougher for the Canadians to think blank. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely thinking to score two now. They could have played the long hit and roll off the top yellow, bring everything over towards that corner, take away one yellow, but you have seen them be, I wouldn't say impatient, but quite eager to get points up on the board. I don't think they want to bring this game all the way down to the wire.
No, I think you're exactly right. Interesting call here from the Chinese. They're going to elect to run the corner guard. After that nice come around stone by Gallant. Xiao Qiang. Well, the Chinese strategy pretty clear. Don't give these Canadians any chances to score a three. Kills his own stone, so all of a sudden now the blank is back on the table. Canada now line one. They'll throw a guard in front of their shot rock. Mark Nichols. He's played okay, but he's fought it a little bit this afternoon. Just trying to find his range on draw weight.
Line's good. Over curling if anything. Whoa, whoa. Just short of roll. Whoa. Yep, yep, yep. Finish it. Yep, yep, yep. Hold it straight. Go, 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 go.
Nice shot by Nichols. Covering the shot.
Okay. 卡板啊，11。
踏板吧。
踏板。
So it's interesting, Sander, after trying the run on the previous shot, now Xiao Qiang looks like he's going to be asked to make a play around and directly at the shot rock. Is that what they're playing?
Yeah, if you ever run the guard in here, though, you could jam on the yellow, leave Canada sitting two.
Yeah, that'd be ugly. This one's going to be tight to the guard.
Oh, you don't want to promote the guard into the house, though.
Brett Gallant came racing up the ice. He saw what was coming. They do push the Canadian stone into the rings. That's disaster for the Chinese. There's Brett Gallant. That was very alert.
Couldn't get any further, hey?
Mark Nichols giving him a hard time. Watch the left-hand side of your picture as the Chinese are sweeping this one. Swooping in. Here he comes to save the day. Brett Gallant joins the sweep.
Is that an Andy Kaufman reference?
Mighty Mouse. Well, he's hardly Mighty Mouse. That's Caitlin Law's nickname. Brett Gallant, you would never call him Mighty Mouse, but he's pretty mighty.
Back 8, guys. You think that's going to be a little bit slower
There's
here?
Brett Gallant.
Haven't played it in the...
Little things like that win you curling games, Sander. You could see that one coming a mile away.
Okay.
Mark Nichols now. Great chance for the Canadians to punish the Chinese mistake. There's 2 or 3 in the brewing here.
Back 8, guys. Back 4.
So when you have a stone on each end of the house, where do you put it for separation? Well, usually you're going to go back 8 center line.
Yeah, keep it moving, boys. Back 8. Hard, 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 hard. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Hard, 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 hard. Okay.
Nice stone by Nichols. Good separation between the Canadian stones. Let's look in live. Sweden versus Russia. Russian stone half buried behind a center guard, but half of it available for 2-time world champion Nick Dean. We are live. This is a shot for a potential 2. Has to be pretty delicate, though, to get around that center guard. On it immediately. He thinks he's narrow. Can they hold the line past that center guard? No, that's going to wreck. It's a steal for the Russians and Sweden now. That lead slipping tighter. It's Sweden 3 and Russia 2. Disappointment of the Swedish fans rinkside. Disappointment of Nick Dean as well. Now China. They're in a world of hurt here in the 5th end. Canadians with the hammer and lying 3. They've only got 2 stones to come. They're going to try to get rid of at least one of them here and hopefully 2. Shota Shah. It's bailout time for Team China. And this one's really making a move. It's not going to get an inside roll. That's just on the nose. Look out, China. Canada lying 2 and in a great chance now. Possible 3.
We're back there, I guess. He's gonna like he has this double if he wants it, but anywhere there, Brett. Yeah. Gave there
For Brett?
Yeah, it would have been right next to the 4. Well, Brett was about right there for right next to the 4.
Okay.
So I think we need there.
Okay.
You think maybe next to it is the best?
I think that's the best, yeah.
Little quick, little Mark say a little quicker going away.
Going to the wing, and it looks like it.
Yeah, but you're taking a new path again, right?
It is a new path. Yep.
So,
Still a little less, Mark. Yeah.
4 feet less than his last one last time.
At least that was back 4. So.
yeah, take 4 feet less, and you can get really close now.
Great communications there between the players. Brad saying this is a new path, getting some feedback from Jeff Walker and Brett Gallant on the speed.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was there though, Brett.
Yeah, it's good.
It's definitely a little wider than anything else that's come down.
Line's good.
Line's
Jeff's
good.
in. Right next to it, guys. Gotta go.
Go ahead. Line's perfect. Right to my broom.
Lead's good. Lead's good.
Trying to sit right beside those
Go ahead, Jeff,
Chinese
go ahead.
stones.
Whoa.
And 3rd shot, and that is beautiful. Canada lies 3. Let's watch Gushu.
I like that one.
6 last one, you think, Brad?
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was there though, Brett.
Yeah, it's good.
It's definitely a little wider than anything. Go ahead. Line's perfect. Right to my broom.
Lead's good. Lead's good. Jeff's in.
Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
Whoa.
Great communications right through the shot. Brad giving him feedback out of hand. Jeff and Brett taking over on the distance judgment. Mark Nichols reading line. Fantastic. Big shot here for Chodesha. Needs to remove 2 Canadian stones, otherwise it's going to be a 3-point end. It goes through, and it's going to be an open draw for 3 for the Canadians. China, after fighting for the entire first half of the game to keep an edge, about to give it all back. Canada lying 2. Brad Gushu needs full 8 foot to score 3. He's even got backing. Not that he needs it. Last stone on its way in the 5th end. Lots of Canadian fans in the arena. They'll tell you what the result of this shot is. Sweepers like it. The fans like it. Gushu likes it. 3 on the board for the Canadians. First multiple point end of the game, and it's a big one. Canada scores 3. That gives them a 4-2 lead at the 5th end break.
I was thinking there, if it's a couple feet lighter. No, I thought you swept it 75% of the way. Yeah, I'd say it's very similar.
I think like Mark was the first one that kind of threw down there a little bit.
What's that? He's had 2 draws that came up top 12. His normal over here was bored.
Yeah.
The only one
He didn't underthrow that by a lot. That was a stiff path, but
yeah.
Oh baby.
3rd end to play. China lying 2 shots. Canada's Brad Gushu has to draw the button. Navigates some front stones, perfect weight. Bit of a scrappy end for the Canadians, but it's a single point. Canada ties it up at 1. Brad Gushu, a bit of relief there. 4th end. Canadian stones in the rings, but a little bit of a pocket created for Chodesha. Throws it perfectly right on the button to score a single point for China. That gives them a 2-1 lead. In the 5th end, Canada some nice come arounds, and China misses a couple of run backs on corner guards, and net result, last stone for Canadian skip Brad Gushu. Just needs to draw the 8 foot to score a huge 3 points. Puts it right on the tee line, and the Canadians take a 4-2 lead after 5.
That was only a couple feet more than this one.
97, 91.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were light. I just thought
Let's have a look at Germany against Japan. Japanese holding a 3-1 lead. Last stone, the 5th end to be thrown here by Germany's Alexander Baumann. Oh, look at this. Look at this. It only jams on the back stone, but it sets everything in motion. It's a single point for the Germans. So let's catch you up with all the matches here at the 361 World Men's Curling Championship in session 16. Japan with a 3-2 lead over Germany. USA leading Italy 2-1. Our feature game, Canada leading 4-2 over China. And in a big game with playoff implications, Sweden with a narrow 3-2 lead over Russia here at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas.
Okay, guys. Stay together. Stay up. Lots of talk. Details. Communication. Jail. Jail. Stay here, okay? Jail. Stay here.
Some reassuring words from Coach Marcel Rock to his Chinese team. Let's take a look at the head-to-head stats after 5 ends. Canada leading 4-2 on the scoreboard, no stolen points. A statistical edge in the shooting department to the Canadians, but not by a lot. About a 6-point edge in total shooting percentage over the Chinese team. Underway in the 6th end. We are live at the Orleans Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. 361 World Men's Curling Championship. Our feature game today. Canada taking on China. Canada with a big 3-point end in the 5th, giving them a 4-2 lead. Hans Frauenlob here, Sander Rolbach bringing you all the action from the desert. An important end for the Chinese after dropping a 3. Xiao Xilin, 75% for this game, 87 for the tournament, so below his tournament average in the first half of this game. Sander, I listened to Marcel, the Chinese coach, telling his team before they went back onto the ice, lots of talk, stand up straight. Don't be dispirited after dropping the 3. You're right in this game.
I don't think that's going to be a problem with this China team. Even this morning when they were 8 down, they were just tugging along like nothing's happened. So they're very disciplined, and it doesn't really matter what's happening in the game. They seem to really give it their all either way.
That's absolutely right. Jeff Walker, 91% for this game. Canada now with a lead. Not interested in front stones anymore. They're bringing it into the rings. 2 stones there in the 4-foot, right on the center line. Corner guard up for China, so a chance to hit the stone and maybe roll behind the corner for some cover. Xiao Xilin. Just played that one a little bit cute, trying for the roll. They roll out themselves. Xiao a bit disappointed. Xiao's got among the best hair in the tournament, I would say, Sander.
I didn't know we were rating.
Well, as a guy who doesn't have great hair himself, I do appreciate a good head of hair. And Xiao Xilin definitely has a good head of hair. Brett Gallant, intense focus, 88% for the game.
Yeah, it was picked up by Ban Gyushu, as he thought Brett Gallant was a winner. Did win the Canadian Championship in juniors, went on to get silver at the World Junior Championship in 2009.
Brett from the beautiful Canadian province of Prince Edward Island. Now making his home in Newfoundland. Xu Xingtao, 75% for the game.
有点像粘的。
粘粘，下去，下去。
下球。粘也不能杀呀。
下去。
This one was heavy all the way. They wanted to sweep it a little bit for curl, but didn't have the line. Just bumps off the Canadian stone, sits right beside it. Easy pickings for the Canadians.
Like keeping it up. Normal.
Should have saying sorry. He knew that one was heavy. Despite dropping the 3, the one good news point for the Chinese is if they could score a pair here, they would have control of the hammer in the even ends. Gallant looking to pound the Chinese stone out of there.
Yep. No. Yep.
Removes it.
Didn't want to roll frozen and he knows.
No, I know.
So that, Brett's father, Peter, who recently had success coaching the South Korean women's team to a silver medal at the recent Pyeongchang Winter Olympics, is now off to Switzerland, where he'll be coaching Savannah Tiranzoni's team for the next year. So Peter Gallant has had a lot of success as a curling coach. That South Korean women's team is one of the real stories of the recent Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. Teen Kim. Xu Xingtao.
底线8，底线8区，底线。底线8区，8区。8九。
China playing a soft weight shot here, still trying to keep the deuce alive. Would have been an easy double takeout, but they're just going to try to push the Canadian stone back behind the tee line. Needed it to curl a little bit more than that.
Okay.
Leaves a gap. Consistent, though, with what you've said, Sander, in any situation. They've got the hammer. They're still trying to manufacture reduce. They don't bail out early. They still go for it, don't they?
Yeah, especially in the sixth end, 2 down. Be great to score 2 here. Very tough to get a 2 going, though, against Canada without guards. But we have seen a few mistakes from Nichols in the game.
Mark Nichols looking to pick out the Chinese stone. Picks it clean. Nice shot.
Well, percentage-wise, Mark Nichols is the #1 third in the field so far.
No real surprise there. Player of real class. And there you see his tournament average 88%, but a little rough of an afternoon here. 68 for the game so far. Qiusheng, conversely, 80% for the game. Just slightly below his tournament average of 82.
Keep going.
Bringing it into shot rock position, front of the forefoot, sitting in front of some Canadian stones.
Same thing.
Nicholas Edin
Do that. You're probably rolling to there.
gave up a steal in the previous end. No steal this time, though. We've got 1 Swedish stone in shot position, so this looks like a draw for 2 for the man sitting at the top of the table right now, jointly with Scotland. Draw for a possible 2 for Sweden.
Edin's turned his back already and gone.
He likes
back.
it. He said that's done. No problem there for Nick Edin. He'll have a seat. No problem. That's my deuce. Have a little rest. He's thrown enough curling stones in his career, Sander, to know when he lets it go what's going to happen at the other end, hasn't he?
Yeah, get a good feeling for it, and you got 2 good sweepers to carry the rest as well, if needed. Hopefully him sitting down is not a
这个可以等一等哦。
sign of any injury problems, though. We know we've had some in the past.
It's a very good point, Sander. He's had some back trouble. He's
力量。
had some shoulder trouble, so you're right. It's a long week when you're playing 12 round-robin games. Looking for the freeze here. It's just going to be a little bit wide. Good weight, but no line, and again, wide open for the Canadians to make a play on it.
Yes. See if we can touch it.
This way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yellowstone belongs to the Chinese.
You leave it here,
It's in the open.
he goes on the corner, we can't get it out. Well, maybe.
Either that or we fly everything, give him the blank.
Well, I
Fly
don't
the
think you
back.
have to fly
That's
it, really.
pretty thin to fly that though. Even.
Other way.
Oh, the other way, yeah. I don't mind. I don't mind trying this with the mist being thin and killing everything.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was my first thought.
Okay.
You gonna throw, like, firm normal or
Yeah.
peel and try to
Firm
hit
normal.
7/8?
3/4 will do.
What's a new curling term for me, Sander? Fly everything. Rip everything out of the house. Good
Problem is
input.
This spot's so straight.
The last thing Canada wants here is give up a 2. They'd rather see China blank, and then they could force them in the 7th end. Again, just trying to take control of the even ends.
I don't. Yeah, I agree.
I think they'll be playing a hit and roll off the yellow,
So I think once it gets in the line,
knowingly killing one of their own red. They'll try and roll as far away as possible. If they roll out, they're okay with it.
Here it comes. Gushu said firm normal. 88% for the game. Having a good one this afternoon.
Whoa, whoa. Yep. Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep.
Hard.
Yep. Yep.
Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa.
Just hitting it just off nose. Exactly what he dialed up.
Great job.
Pushes one of his stones off the rings. Leaves himself lying 2.
Shot.
So he wanted to hit 7/8. That's exactly what he hit.
这个点站在那个位置。上边放一点。
Sends the Chinese stone rocketing out of the rings. Loses one of his own, but the Canadians are lying 2. China still think they have a chance to manufacture a pair. Looks like they're going to try to freeze the shot rock. Be really precise with this to get shot though, Sander. Can't be a nose freeze. He's going to have to be about 3/4 on the inside of it to get shot.
Well, they're hoping to freeze it in a way where if you make the hit, I'll catch that shooter that was left by Gushu on the wing.
Shoulder shot.
向东 OK。
78% for the game.
再见。
Trying an inside freeze on the Canadian shot rock. The stone just getting across the center line now, though. It's going to have to make a big move late. Oh, that was a 1/4 of a rock from perfect.
Same way.
Perfect weight. Had to curl another 1/4 of a rock, and that is an outstanding shot. But instead, it's just a very good shot because Brad Gushu can nose hit this one and lie 2, and that will force China to take a single point.
Same weight. Yep.
There's a look at it from Gushu's perspective. Target brush about 45 meters away.
Heel. 7.
Clean.
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 Yep.
Clean's always a good word to hear as a sweeper. That's why. Picks it clean. Rolls out. Canada lying 2.
Only looked like a 7 because it was you throwing. It was actually 7:37.
Brad saying you're picking at straws there. Come on. Told me to throw 7 with 7:37. That's pretty close. Nose hit coming up here for Xiao. Needs to stick around to score. There are 2 Canadian stones in the rings. Has to keep it full 8 foot. Mission accomplished for the Canadians. They wanted to force the Chinese into a single point here in the 6th. Final stone on its way for Xiao.
好，Play. Hard. Big. Hard, 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 hard.
Quiet wait, making a move. Will it stick around? Rolls across into the forefoot. No problem there for China. Single point. Chodisha makes the hit and stay. But it's the force for the Canadians. They get the hammer back. Canada leading this one 4-3 after 6. Excellent crowd here on a Thursday afternoon in Vegas. Even some curlers of the future here. Hope mom and dad are keeping them away from the tables. Bring them to the curling arena, that's fine. Good, wholesome fun. Everybody enjoying the action here at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. We are live at the 361 World Men's Curling Championship 2018. Our feature game today, Canada taking on China. Canada with a 4-3 lead as play begins here on end number 7. Canada now, after that good force in the 6th, they've got the advantage of last rock. Hans Fraunlub here with Sander Rolvag. Happy to be here in Las Vegas. Curling in the desert, Sander.
Yeah, we're there.
Not bad.
No, sit poolside between the draws and then come out and watch your favorite sport. So far pretty fun. Round robin obviously shaping up as well, so starting to get a little more tense.
Walker half around the center guard.
Yeah, we'll have 6 pretty fun games in the playoffs.
That's exactly right. Let's talk quickly about that playoff format. 6 teams will make the playoff phase. Then there's a real reward for finishing number 1 or number 2, isn't there?
And get a direct bye to the semi-finals. While rank 3 through 6 will play in 2 quarterfinals, and the winner of those will obviously play the top 2 teams in the semi-finals. So we get 2 quarters, 2 semi-finals, and 2 medal games.
No tie-break games here. Any ties for those playoff positions will be settled on the basis of head-to-head records in this round robin. It's a full 12-game round robin. And if there's a situation where the scores, or you can't separate the teams based on head-to-head record, this can happen sometimes when you've got more than 2 teams tied for a spot. And then it goes down to draw shot distance. The pre-game last stone draw shot the teams all play. And as far as secondary tiebreakers go, you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Sander, that the Canadians are leading the pack as far as the best draw shot distance rankings go.
By quite a lot. I'll be surprised if they don't end up winning it altogether by the end of the round robin. So they'll have that advantage.
Canada have yet to play Sweden. Canada's only loss of the round robin so far coming to the hands of Scotland. Scotland are only on 1 loss. So a real battle brewing for the top 2 positions. Rocks are stacking up here on the center line. Let's have a look in at other action here. Italy versus the United States. Yellow stones belonging to the Americans. Almost Mosaner. Italian skip needs to hit this one on the nose by the looks of it to try and score a single point. Oh, no mistake there. Nice shot by Mosaner. Single point for the Italians, and that one's tied up at 2. Let's look in at Germany and Japan. Japan holding a 3-2 lead, and 18-year-old Go Aoki. Really enjoyed watching this man. This is an international debut. First international tournament of any kind for this Japanese team. Chance here for a big end. Needs to stick into the 12-foot. No problem there. Hangs around. 3 points for the Japanese, and they go out to a 6-2 lead over Germany. Go, 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 Aoki.
Picked up 2 wins already, looking for their third. I'd say even at 2 wins, it's a pretty good debut.
Certainly is. We're used to seeing that Japanese team of Yosuke Morozumi representing at the World Championship level. Brett Gallant looking to make a play to the Chinese stone in the back of the 8-foot. Great brushing by Jeff Walker, holding the line straight. Just pushing the Chinese stone a little bit back in the 8-foot, and Canada is line 2. There's Jeff Walker alongside Mark Nichols. Nice sweep there. Thank you, says Brett. Another good end brewing here for the Canadians. They've got the hammer.
Yeah. Is it nice for way I thought it was a little late.
Shushing Tao. Wants to hit this one on the inside. They can't go across the face of it. Just hit it on the nose, losing the back stone, leaving their own stone sitting in second shot position.
You ever roll it big?
What's that?
You ever roll it to here?
You can. Yeah, you don't want to stop there, though.
Absolutely right, Brad. Don't want to stop there. Smiles on the faces of the Chinese team.
I think it's still there with this stone.
Still think this? Looks like you'll just have to sweep that.
Everything. I don't know the speed out here, though. It's going to be a guess.
I think it'll be a couple feet. I don't think it's going to be crazy slow.
Brett Gallant says, can I play the intern? Brett says, I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I think it's going to be slow. We think it's going to be slow.
Brett really doesn't want to throw the outturn. Reason he doesn't want to throw the outturn, he doesn't know the weight.
We think it's going to be slow.
I don't think it'll be that bad.
Brett goes, okay, I'm not sold, but I'll throw it.
4 to 6.
Yeah, you could play the nose hit, but I'll just keep it very high, allowing China to make the hit and roll. That's why Gallant said, let's roll big, across the house. I'll leave it deep in the 8-foot on the other side, but Gusha didn't quite like that call, just in case you end up rolling just behind the guards. You'll be back tee, something for China to freeze to. So that's where they're freezing this yellow rock, but you can't do it on the in-turn. The center guard's in the way. That's where they're playing the out, but it's a bit of a guess for weight. They haven't really been out here.
Well, that's a pretty good guess.
That is insane.
Welds it on the corner. Great shot.
That's astonishing.
Especially when you could just tell by his demeanor. Brett wasn't sure about the weight. He said, I'm going to go out in the weeds there. It's going to be heavier. Brad says, don't think it's going to be that bad. Got input from his sweeper, said, just add 4 feet. Brett Gallant dials it up and locks it on. Fantastic shot. There's a look at it from the hack perspective. Not looking pretty for the Chinese here. And Shodeja is going to ask Xiao Chang to come down and have a look as the team swivel around to take a look at their time clock. China 13:50 and counting. Neither team has taken their timeout yet. Still got 3.5 ends to play, so China not in the red zone yet on the time clock, but they'll have to keep an eye on it. China knows. Drop a 3 here. Lights out. What can we do to maybe force Canada to take one? Now they're looking at the straight center run backs. Coming around the center on the intern side. And those are the angles. If they did think about that straight center run back. Yellow, red, yellow, red. Risky shot though if they try it. Canada lying to the red stones are the Canadian stones. They are going to be making a play on that stone just delivered by Gallant. Looking for an inside roll here, Sandra, or you think you're just trying to go slightly inside nose and leave himself sitting in front of it?
I think the roll is the call, but I think that's a good option just to sit frozen or frozen on the inside as well.
Great look at it from the delivery end. It's shot all about line. Little inside roll. That's pretty good. Rolls it to the button.
Excellent weight as well. They were playing there.
Just peel the guard for now.
I was thinking you could do that. And if you roll off, so be it.
Okay, whatever you like.
If you run the front straight back, it goes yellow, red, yellow, red, yellow.
Yeah, trying to just run it slightly high. Just clip that top red. Hoping to see as many yellows go and as many reds stay as possible.
Well, here we go. Buckle up. Mark Nichols. Bring in the heat.
Well, I mentioned just peeling the guard as an option, so that will be plan B.
Yep, just off nose. No action on the stones and the rings. Rolls it off into a corner guard position.
Never trying for it. I don't think we were ever trying for it.
Mark Nichols. Didn't think you were even trying for it. By that he meant didn't even look like they were making a serious play at the straight run back. Chance now for China to reduce the risk. Gallant, Nichols, Walker looking on. Brad Gushu eyeing it up, along with Shodeja of China. Xiao Chang. Looks like they're making a play towards the Canadian stone sitting on the edge of the forefoot, but really quiet weight. Is it a freeze?
I think so.
It's a brave call. This one's really going to curl at the end. Can they keep it inside on the Canadian stone? Well, they just push it, and that I think is going to wind up being a mistake. Can the Canadians now hit the Chinese stone a little bit half on the outside and kill them both? They might lose their shooter in the process.
What if we just make this one first? That's gone. That one's gone.
Red, yellow now is almost automatic.
Well, you got to make sure that, yeah, you don't need to hammer it, but you got to make sure that 2 goes. 2's not going to fly with how dead these are. Like that, if you're doing that, this thing isn't going to fly out.
So again, we're flying the rocks.
We'll be line shot. The 2 will be in front of it, right?
If we play the double on these, we lose that.
Yeah. Well, you got to save this.
We could. What if we just did this?
Good.
Like, because then we got that.
Yeah, the only problem is, if you ever did this, that's not real great. I think we need to make a play on this. I kind of like this, and
it's almost the same throw, isn't it?
Yeah. If you want the out.
Well, I'm just saying, like, in probably gets that one going more, right?
I prefer the in.
So China, high risk attempt there on that freeze. Pops in the open and leaves the Canadian stone full in the 8-foot. That brings 3 into play from Ascender. I'm not sure about that freeze call, but regardless, now Mark Nichols is going to be playing the front stone. Going to try and hit half of it.
Hey?
Yep.
Well, this one will be an absolute fasten your seatbelt. Granite will be flying everywhere. Trying to hit half. They're not laying a brush to it yet. Going to catch it a little thinner than they wanted. But now, all of a sudden, China looking very vulnerable indeed in the house. Red stones belong to the Canadians. They've got the hammer. Just 1 Chinese stone in the rings. This was lined up for ages. Canada pulling the trigger. 2 Chinese stones out of the rings. Now Canada line shot. China 2nd shot. Canada 3rd and 4th shot. And is Zhou Deja looking at a corner freeze on his own stone sander? Is he going to try to freeze it into the pocket?
Yeah, pretty much. Could be a little snug getting past that corner guard.
I was thinking the same.
But you could probably afford tapping your own yellow a wee bit and slide in. Even if you tap your own yellow to the back 4 and slide on top corner frozen, now you're sitting 2nd and 3rd shot.
Well, we are in Las Vegas. A little gambling happens in this town, and a big gamble here for Zhou Deja.
Well, probably feels that giving up a 2 here is it's quite tough to come back from. So playing big to get the force.
Gonna have to get very near to that corner guard to make this shot. They are quite near to it. Are they by this top stone? Yes, they are. Comes to rest. Pretty good shot.
That's pretty perfect. Can't do much more than that.
Canada lying 1.
Yeah, that'd be the safest and best bet. Yep.
Like,
Yep.
what kind of weight are you thinking?
I think I'm just almost peel.
Almost peel?
Yeah, just same path you just threw it.
So we're losing the shooter, hey?
I don't think it's a big deal.
Okay.
Where are you throwing?
Just here.
Where's you want to roll that one to?
Half a rock,
that?
yep.
Where's he rolling the top one to?
It's gonna go.
I think the only way you're saving your shooters if we play board, and I don't like board.
You want to try to stuff it, hey, Brad?
Yep.
Gushi's going to run back that stone right beside the brush of Mark Nichols onto the Chinese rocks. Possible shot for 2 here. He says you're going to lose your shooter. That's okay, but you might get 2 this way.
Just running the top red onto the yellows, try and stick it frozen.
Yep.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Just a single. Jams them. So China still breathing here, but it's still looking pretty dangerous. Unlocks the back stone. That's the important thing from the Canadian perspective. China still in real danger here. Zhou Deja. Couple of options. Looks like he's just going to try and hit the Canadian shot rock sander and maybe roll to the edge of the 4-foot. Leave a difficult but makeable double takeout perhaps for Brad Gusher to score 3. Like this call?
Well, if you can make it perfect.
Well, here we go. We're going to find out in a minute if it's going to be perfect or not. Kind of an all or nothing shot here for Xiao Desha.
Made the call pretty quickly. Didn't really look at too many other options either.
Needs an outside roll, but he's not going to get it.
And
it's not a bad place to leave it, though. It's awkward now.
I think that's actually pretty good at first glance.
So for Gushu,
Yeah.
how do you double those off and not jam?
I don't see a shot for two.
Try to miss, but
Let's look in at Sweden and Russia. Red stones belong to Nicholas Edin of Sweden, so the final stone for Alexei Timofeyev.
Shave that sideways, maybe. And that's our best bet. I think if you just clip it, I think you get it.
Drawing against 3. Big brush by Klimov and Razabov. And that gets the job done. Single point for the Russians. Sweden leading at 5-3. They'll have the hammer going into the 9th.
Make sure we, kill it.
Looking at the angles to see.
Just got a ticket.
Yep.
I think it's closer to a thick half. I think it's thick half, Mark.
So, Chinese gamble paying off, leaving a very difficult final shot for Brad Gushu. Tough angles here. Gonna try to clip the right hand of those 2 yellow stones, hit about a quarter of it, clip the other Chinese stone almost straight sideways, maybe through the hole, but big risk of a jam on the Canadian stone to the left-hand side of our picture. How's it going to turn out? We're going to find out in a minute. Well, they're close to what they want. It does jam, and it is a steal of a single point for China. China steals 1. They tie the game up. Xiao Desha with a great hit and roll on his final stone. Gushu cannot make the difficult double. China steals the point after 7. We are tied at 4. Let's take another look at that final stone double attempt from Brad Gushu. Catches it thin, but it jams, and it's a steal for China. It looked like it was jamming all day to me, Sander. It was a tough shot. They didn't even look at the draw for the single. Would have been tough. They would have had to draw a piece of the button around a Chinese stone. So perhaps thinking that was a risky proposition and maybe brings a steal of 2 into play. Bottom line, we are tied up at 4. Xiao Shilin standing in the hack, looking at himself on television at the far end, and we are live here in Las Vegas at the 361 World Men's Curling Championship 2018. Intriguing game. Canada versus China. China stealing a point in the 7th end to tie it up at 4. Canada would have been the favorites coming into this game. They're sitting near the top of the standings. But after suffering a bit of a pasting at the hands of Nicholas Edin this morning, this Chinese team have come back this afternoon and are giving this Canadian defending world championship team everything they can handle. Jeff Walker, steady as ever at the lead position for this Gushu foursome, 91%.
Weight's good.
Going over curl. Yep. Yep, gotta go. Come out the other side here.
Overweight too.
Whoa, whoa.
We're there.
It's all there.
Sit.
6 is curling just as much as the other thing.
后面6区。
Xiao Shilin.
5-6，
交了 OK。
6，
clean。clean。
5-6，6，
没问题。
6提线，
clean。clean。
hard，
whoa，有点掉过了。
哎呀，
Corner frozen. Well, hello. Let's look in at Japan versus Germany. Let's count these Japanese stones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. How do you get in there, Alexander Baumann? I have no idea. Crane? Helicopter?
I think you could draw
Jump
the
ramp?
in-turn, to be honest. Edge of 4.
Well, he's throwing at the front stones. How does this red stone somehow get in there? Well, it doesn't. There's the...
That's all right. I think it's us.
4-way measure.
Yeah, it is a 4-way measure. We'll come back and confirm the result of that one. They are calling for the measurement.
Looks like red, eh?
I don't know. Yellowstone looks like it's closer. We'll find out for you and we'll let you know. Xu Tao. Stones are really stacking up around the center guard. Good angles right now for the Canadians. China trying to change that. Waiting for this one to curl. They do not want the bounce, but they are going to get a little one. Dink.
Okay.
That improves it a bit for China. And Xu Tao. Trailing Brett Gallant in the shooting department this afternoon. Gallant at 91%.
Just T-line. T-line? Yep. Unless we can get to the nose with a little bit of weight.
Maybe just board.
Let's try hack.
Okay.
Let's play tight to the guard.
Yeah.
The implicit instruction there is if you just feather the guard going by, that's not death. Goshu asking Brett Gallant to play hack weight at the Chinese stone at the front of that pile of stones in the rings.
Whoa. Hard. Hard. Whoa. Clean it. Right off.
Goshu seeing some debris in the path, came out to swoop it out of the way. Nice shot there by Gallant. Unlocks the Chinese stones, leaves the Canadians 3 shots all along the center line, all partly covered by that center guard. Very nice shot. Angle's bad now for China. After that stolen point in the previous end, Canada retains last rock here in the 8th. Xu Tao throwing a lot of weight. Trying to move at least one Canadian stone. Well, sets them all in motion, pushes one of them out of the rings, but leaves Canada lying 2. And we get the confirmation that Germany did in fact win the measure. There's the hammer, back in the hands of the Japanese.
Didn't even see that red stone on the back there. Just saw the wall of yellow stones up front.
The wall of Japanese granite at the front of the rings.
Fight the 4. Fight the 4.
Just half the 4. Half the 4.
I don't think it's heavy.
Lot curling on.
Gotta go.
Hard.
Great looking line.
Half 4, Jeff.
Jeff Walker, he'll be ready for a bit of physio and an easy evening. But no work to do yet for the Canadians. Brushing that one. Gallant. A bit of a shuffle there, the Harlem shuffle by Mark Nichols as he's working his way up the rink. Got a side-to-side motion. And Walker and Nichols bringing that stone in behind cover. Third stones now, and it's Xiaoshang.
You'll see a bit of a difference in the sweepers here. The Chinese are sliding on their Teflon sliders while the Canadians are putting on their anti-sliders and pretty much walking or running next to it.
China gets the roll in behind cover, where they stuff the Canadian stone on their own rock in the back of the 8-foot circle. So real danger building now for Xiaodisha. Canada's got the hammer, and the red stones are accumulating. And this is how 3s and 4s happen. Pretty even picking at the thirds position. Xiaoshang with a very slight edge over Mark Nichols. Big shot for Mark now. Just trying to pick out the Chinese stone. Can only see a tiny sliver of it. Has he got contact? No, he does not. Just glanced it going by. Jeff Walker says, I might have kicked that stone a little bit back to the house as Nichols looks on.
Can't believe that missed it.
Mark Nichols saying he can't believe it, but believe it. It just tickled the Chinese stone. Walker. Okay.
指力量，别不能大，不能大。向右，很好，正常，正常带。
China, after that Canadian miss, trying to turn this end around. Trying to wrap this one around on top of their own. Wow, and a sweeping error there. Grazes the front stone and pops it, leaving it sitting half in the open. Bad mistake there on the line read by Xiaodisha. There's Xiao and Shu. They're thinking, how come we didn't get that around that top one in the 8-foot?
You got all of it? There's a piece missing. I think heavy board. Okay. Trying to get the nose, right? Well, I'd love to get a little inside.
Gushu saying, can you hit it in the nose? Mark Nichols said there's a piece of it missing. It means he can't see all of it. Gushu not liking the line. This one well by the guard. That pushes them around a little bit, leaves their own stones in the front of the 4-foot. China will have to deal with them. Red stones belong to Canada. Yellow stones belong to China.
哪块不能给他相关角，就是你现在处理那个处理不了。这个就基本上就是打定偏一点，打定偏一点。那这个他在找大包。
I thought my first one was gonna be.
输趋向一旦不好的话，暂停。
Timeout being called by China. Real danger, those Canadian stones just in the front of the 4-foot. Here comes Coach Marcel Rock, along with the translator.
大概意思打在这儿了，在这儿啊，他清楚也有往那写呢，或者在这儿。
If you knows that, or you've got to roll this way a little bit, right? Now he's playing a double and roll behind, and he can play quiet weight, roll behind. Now you're in big trouble because you got a double over there for 4. So I think what you have to do is do what you're talking about and come around wide. Yeah, okay, so he's going to play that, right? But he's going to play this one double, so no double. So right behind, we can also go right behind. Right, no. If you just bite 4, a quarter around. If you're heavy 8.
It's going to be the draw around the stone in the front of the forefoot as we watch Sweden making their way down the ice. That game is over. Sweden roll along. Nicholas Edin, Team Sweden 7-3 winners over Russia. Keeping their place at the top of the standings intact. Center coach Marcel Rock saying playing the Canadian stone in the front of the forefoot dangerous. Would leave the Canadians a soft weight inside hit and roll, and that brings 3 or 4 into play. This is a risky shot too. Has to be in front of the tee line. Can't push it back on the button because it's an easy slash run in for the Canadians if he puts it there. Zhu and Zhao working this one hard. They need to get by the Canadian stone in the front of the 8-foot. Can they get it there? No, it's going to come up short. It's going to sit in the 8-foot circle. Canada still lies 2, but that Chinese stone potentially usable on the last shot. Shonisha, just about a 1.5 feet
Try to
light.
get as low as we can, or do you want to?
No, I'd like that to go behind it. Yep.
Okay. I don't know how much we're going to move that if we're trying to get that under, right?
You don't need to move it more than a
What's that?
millimeter. You just need to move it a millimeter.
Usually looking to promote the stone directly in front of Mark Nichols, the red stone onto the yellow.
Where do you want to see, Brad?
Put them more, Mark. Yep.
Just wants to come slightly across the top,
Just like that.
drive it onto the Chinese stone, roll both of his stones inside.
Like that ice.
Yeah, I think so.
Canada could be lying 3 buried if he makes this.
Weight's good. Hair heavy. Pretty good. Whoa.
Whoa.
Close. Weight's good. Yep.
Whoa.
Yes. Hard.
Making a move now.
Hard. 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 Hard.
Canada lies 3. Did it just over curl enough to give Chodesha a chance to draw to the shot rock is the question. Heard the sweep call at the end. They were really trying to keep the line straight. Stone really makes a move at the end and just over curls a fraction. They wanted a little bit of inside contact on that Chinese stone. Instead, they nut the thing and it sits right on the tee line. Is there a path there for Team China? Get around that stone, the front of the forefoot, and freeze the Canadian shot rock. This is going to have to come in at about a 30-degree angle to get to the inside. Game on the line on this shot, I believe, for Chodesha. Drawing against 3, trying to freeze the Canadian shot. Must get by the Canadian stone in the top of the 8-foot. They brought there by that one. Is it a little bit heavy? Pushes the Canadian stone back and leaves themselves lying 1, but by opening up that gap, Brad Gushu with the chance to play the pick. Possible shot for three. Cho Deja, bit of an edge statistically over Brad Gushu, but Brad Gushu can now make a pick shot on that stone just delivered by Xiao and possibly score three. That stone 6 inches heavy. Gushu just has to hit what he can see. Canada are going to score a bundle.
Clean. Yep. Clean. Clean. Yep. Yep. Clean. Clean.
They like it. 3 points for the Canadians. Brad Gushu picks off the Chinese stone. Canada scores three to the delight of the fans at the Orleans Arena. Canadian supporters waving their flags. Canada, huge three-point end in the 8th. Canada 7, China 4.
Missed a lot of shots by
Let's have another look. Brad Gushu's final stone of the 8th end has to hit half a rock.
Clean. Clean. Yep. Yep. Clean. Clean.
No problem at all. Picks it clean. One more look from above. No mistake there. Canada cashes in. And they're throwing a three-point end on the board. Here from Las Vegas, Nevada at the 361 World Men's Curling Championship 2018. Was that the decisive moment in this game, our feature game, Canada versus China? Hans Frauenlob here, we're live, joined by Sander Rovag. And after a real tussle, a real arm wrestle, China scrapping their way all the way back in the game at Canada with a huge three-point end, Sander. Cho Deja fractionally heavy with his last attempt at freeze, and Brad Gushu making no mistake.
Yeah, 3 points in the 8th end for Canada. That's kind of game, set, and match right there. You would think they've been a bit scrappy throughout. China's made some good shots, but I can't really see Brad Gushu and team losing this one now. They can really, they could give up three here and still be tied with Hammer coming home, and they would favor them. So you'll probably see them play this a little bit cautious. Won't be too upset if they give China a score of 2. That's almost the end goal here in the 9th. If they can force them, great.
Jeff Walker throws that first one into the circles. Shashalin will throw up the corner guard. You did mention, Sander, the last rock efficiency of Team Canada. They've scored 3 twice in this game. Quite lethal with the last rock. They have given up a steal. China playing well, but Canada the only team this afternoon to throw multiples on the board. Jeff Walker being asked to throw another stone into the rings.
Just short of that. Guys, Carson, get it. Carson, get it. Carson, get it.
It is Japan. Go Aoki and his teammates with a big 8-3 win over Germany. An impressive debut. The 18-year-old throwing 4 stones for Japan. They've made a lot of friends here this week in Las Vegas. The fans have really taken to this young Japanese team, and a big victory for them. 2 corners up for China. Free guard zone, part of the end is over. So Brett Gallant And start throwing missiles. Trying to clear guards.
Yep. Oh.
He'll be thinking double clear. There's one. Moves two. Leaves his own stone there as a corner guard, but nice shot there by Brekelin. Xu Xingtao quickly out of the hack. China a bit tight on their time clock, so they're not wasting any time at all between shots. They've used their timeout. Canada has not. Stone coming short, just short of the rings. Gucci will ask Gallant to remove it. Now we have a look at the time clocks. Canada down to 5:18 on their time clock. China just a fraction more than that. Brett Gallant.
Yep. Yep. Hard. Hard.
Catches it thin, spills across the rings, out of play, no problem there, says Brad Gushu. Fewer rocks in play, the better for the Canadians.
Shot, Brett. What's that?
Sanders said earlier in the end, from the Canadian perspective, we're really happy to give China one. Even wouldn't be bad to give China two. Still be one up with last rock playing the 10th end. China now going to try and use the corner guard. Sweeper's not laying a brush to it though. Xu Xingtao. Would be fatal for the Chinese if this one were to slide through the rings. It's going to go deep. It's going to go deep. Will it stay in? Xu Xingtao hoping for the best, fearing the worst, hanging on, staying alive. Bit of relief there for Xu. Yeah, had it all the way. Never in doubt. Had to get it behind the corner guard after all. So I thought I'd just use all the rings.
Hack weight.
Mark Nichols.
Yep. Gotta go. Gotta go. Hard, Brett.
This is going to flirt with the corner guard.
Yep. Hard. Shooter's pass. Hard.
Pass the hack.
Well swept just by the guard. They remove the Chinese stone very deep in the house and leave themselves line three.
Nice sweeping. Very good weight.
Nice sweeping, says Mark Nichols. Team shot there. Xiaoqiang. His turn now to try and get one behind that corner guard. Situation, Sander, where a two is an absolute must, and even if you score a two, you're going to have to steal out to win the game. You have to steal a 10th and an extra. Tall order. Better looking weight here. Can they bury it?
Okay.
Maybe half buried. Good weight.
Same shot or you want this? I don't mind this. Okay.
Nichols can see
What do
half.
you have?
It's a shade less.
Well, which one would you like?
I'm fine with either.
Which one would you like? Thank you.
Answer me. Answer me, says Barrett.
Straight here.
Straight here.
Yeah.
Nichols says, okay, I'll take the run back, please.
Right off.
Trying to drive the corner guard back onto the Chinese stone. Ba-boom. Nice shot.
Just trying to get that off.
Okay.
Guards are now well out of the picture for the Chinese as Nichols joins Gushu at the home end. So play is going to have to come into the rings now. No guards to hide behind. Xiaochang going to try to corner freeze the shot rock just behind the button. Xiao and Zhu communicating the weight. This one's really making a move now. It's going to be light. Going to corner freeze the top stone now instead. It's a good plan B. They're sitting in third shot position, but directly in front of a Canadian rock.
We got to kill both.
That's what I mean. Like, kill the three.
I like hitting being up 3. Like, I think you want to get rid of that one though, don't you? The red?
Oh, you got to get rid of the red one.
Do we want to?
You got to kill the red one in the 8-foot. Half rock.
Well, after briefly saying, well, let's draw another one in there. Brett Glenn chipping in saying, well, we're up 3, I'd rather hit. Gushu agreeing and try to hit half of the yellow stone. Certainly going to jam on the stone behind it. Only bad result for the Canadians is if it overcurls.
Yep.
Clean.
Yep.
Clean.
I'm pretty happy with it. Nice shot by Gushu. Sets everything in motion. Leaves themselves lying 2 at the back of the rings, but gets rid of the Chinese rock. Does give China something to draw to, though, sitting in the back of the rings. Shonisha immediately putting the brush down, saying, yep, we'll play the freeze. Nichols and Gushu looking on. Trying to close this one out. China hanging on. Shonisha wants to freeze right on the face of the Canadian stone in the back of the 8-foot. Xu and Chao on the brush. Gonna be right on the face of it, trying to take it back as far as they can. Pretty good shot, just over curls. Gushu can make a play on the high side.
Yeah. I'm trying to pick it. Doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Blast it, says Gushu.
Hair last, Mark.
This won't be light.
Yep. Clean.
Fraction full with the release by Gushu, but no problem there.
Yep.
They can pick this one thin. Loses the back stone, but one Canadian rock sitting in the back of the 12-foot. No problem there for Canada. Mission accomplished. China really needed a 2 to stay in the game. Now the decision for China, is it easier to steal 2 or score 3? Neither is probably the right answer to that. So, maybe the blank or maybe the nose hit.
I think if they were scoring 1 here, just play the draw.
Yeah,
be easier.
I agree. So probable blank attempt here for China. They'll try to score 3 in the 10th, the last rock. There's the blank. China will keep last rock into the 10th, but Canada, Brad Gushu with a smile, he's pretty happy with his situation. 3 up coming home. Canada leads at 7-4 after 9.
减速完了就掉线。一开始线路都一直在这边，一直在这边，完了一减速就掉了。OK， 继续。还是正常打双边位的。应该继续放。这上这个方向太难了。2分。
Nice crowd here on a Thursday afternoon in Las Vegas. Brad Gushue and his Canadian teammates up 3 coming home. Jeff Walker with that favorite shot of leads worldwide. Please throw the first one through. Jeff's pretty happy with that one. China must score 3 with last rock here in the 10th to force an extra end. We're live at the 3-6-1 World Men's Curling Championships. Our feature game, Canada versus China. Hans Franlov here with Sander Wolvag. Hope you're enjoying the action. This has been a really interesting game. China has played Canada really tough, but that big 3-point 8th end looks like the difference maker in this game. China throws the corner guard. Gushue is asking Walker to throw just another one through. No tick attempt here. Jeff will say thank you very much. I'll brush now. Saves on the time clock as well. Not much thinking required when you're going to throw it through. Just get in the hack and throw it. That means China will be able to set their second corner guard. Xiao Shilin.
Well, Canada knows if they make their simple shots well, there's no way they're giving up more than 2.
From here, simple shots for the Canadians. Clear guard. Every time you throw a rock, clear guard.
Yeah, and Brett Gallant's playing 91% on these type of shots for the event, and Mark Nichols is throwing 98% on the same type of shots. So.
Yep. Tough team to come back on, this Canadian team. They are very good with the lead. And there we see one perfect clear. Brad Gushue will be doing the mental math, counting rocks. Xu Xingtao trying to set another corner guard. China will need 2 Canadian misses somewhere along the line here in this 10th end to somehow manufacture a 3. Tall order. This one's coming into the rings. That doesn't really help the cause for the Chinese. Now Gushue, chance to get a 2-for-1 deal. Gallant, and there's the angle. Hits 2/3 of that one on the outside. He could kill the Chinese stone in the rings, and that would be pretty much lights out for China. Stuffs it. Bit of a laugh there from Brad as that stone came running into the house in the rings, or shot in the rings rather. Yeah, thought I made it. Not quite. No panic at all for the Canadians, no guards. China will guard this stone.
That's probably the only reason why he's playing 91% on those type of shots, because he's asked to make slashes and doubles.
Yep, always looking for the Not just the good result, but the really good result.
Makes a double and leaves Nichols just peel the single.
Yeah, Breckland says, I'll do the heavy lifting, no problem. Xu Xingtao throwing the guard. Good humor being shown by this Chinese team all week. As Sanders said, nothing seems to fluster them. Mark Nichols.
Before this game, he played 15 out-turn peels. Has made all of them.
You're good, you're good, you're good.
We'll make that 16. China slowly running out of bullets. They need 3, remember, to tie. No guards, 1 stone in the rings. Xiao Qiang. Second game of the day for China. Hard work for Xiao and Xu. This Chinese team really do work the brushes hard. It's a tough day, especially at the end of a tough day where you're probably facing 2 losses. Mark Nichols, again with the outturn.
You know, either way this game pans out, China's given a pretty good fight this evening.
Sure have.
Especially considering their game this morning.
Yep. They have given a very solid and creditable performance, no doubt about that. They've pushed Canada hard. If that free stone of Xiao's in the 8th end is 6 inches lighter, this is maybe a very different game, but it wasn't. Canada converted, and they are on the brink of running China out of rocks. Xiao Qiang. To draw this stone into the rings. Gushu already making his way down to the other end. He knows it's just open hits from here. 2 stones in the rings for China, and there's Gushu. He's been in this situation before. Often said that good teams can get themselves into the 10th end of games and be competitive. Great teams always close them out. And this is, without doubt, a great team, defending world champions.
Yep.
Gushu won't mind if this one rolls out of the rings. No need to stick around here.
Good, good.
Right in the nose, no problem there. Xia playing his last gambit possible. He's going to play a freeze to the Canadian stone. And that will leave Gushu an open hit on the yellow stone to the left of our picture for the win.
Yeah, clutching at straws just now.
Doing everything they can, but Canada has executed to perfection here in the 10th end. No line yet on this rock. It's got a lot of curling to do, and it looks a bit heavy. They're going to try and draw around it now. Need to keep it in the rings, though. If it doesn't stay in the rings, the game is over. Goes to the back of the 8-foot, but as advertised, Mark Nichols immediately to the stone on the open side. Open hit for the win for Brad Gushu of Canada. Crowd are already applauding. Mark Nichols looks comfortable. It will be made, and Canada close out the victory. Canadian fans that have made the trip to Las Vegas are delighted. Final score, Canada 7, China 4. big victory for Canada, keeping them in the playoff race. They've already qualified, but they've really wanted to finish first place in the standings, and that keeps it alive. Coaches also exchanging handshakes. These two know each other very well. Jules Oucher, Marcel Rock. One game remaining here in Las Vegas in the afternoon session. Italy and the USA. USA holding a narrow 4-3 lead over Italy. Let's look in there now. The Canadians accepting the cheers of the crowd as they make their way down the ice at the conclusion of their match. We are now looking at USA versus Italy. There's USA fourth stone Greg Persinger. This game's in the 10th end. Yellowstone belongs to the USA. Rich Ruhonen saying, let's go, Greg. He's a bit worried about his time clock. USA have been using maximum time clock just about every game. Persinger at 89% for the game today. Italy has last rock here in the 10th.
A lot of room right now. No, line's good. Easy. Line's good. Line's really good. Yeah, Phil, little bit. Little bit, Phil. Come on, go. Go.
Straight guard here for the Americans.
Go, 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 go.
We're not even close.
They need that much extra.
Well, sorry.
Italy immediately going to play the run back.
They didn't need that much extra room.
I know, but
Amos Mosaner, he looks for shots like this. Persinger looking skyward. Ronan shaking his head.
just going off of what they said. Sorry, bro. Like they
Just did not need that much room.
Ronan knows they wanted to cover this run back attempt. Amos Mosaner only 74% for the game. A chance to drive the red center guard straight back onto the American rock. No, 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 they say. It's not going to curl enough. Makes a triple takeout on his own stones. What a break for the Americans. Everything off the rings. Look at Mosaner. So, I like making triple takeouts, but not on my own rocks. Look at this. Kills everything, but it's the wrong color. Leaving the Americans lying one. So yep, threw it wide, paid the price. Great chance for the US to seal up that shot. The USA steals this end, they're going to win the game. Greg Persinger.
Pretty tight. It's tight. Hit it. Mine's okay. Okay, whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, then. Whoa. 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 Whoa, it's coming now. Whoa. Whoa. You gotta roll it. You gotta roll it. You gotta roll it a little.
Gonna get a little action off that guard. Honan not happy. Persinger either. Thinks, have we left him a little bit of a hole? Might be enough. Yeah, not much of a hole there. Timeout being called by Italy. I think the only shot for the Italians is the angle run on the red stone. Mosaner looking at it. Coach Soren Gran.
It's a bit wide, maybe.
Maybe thinner? No, quarter for sure.
Quarter.
Sicura qua così.
It's the only shot. Angle run.
Sì, ma gas,
Sì, no,
secondo me qua le poteva andare dritte.
In fora, anche secondo me, poi giocare credo che col 9 perché
Come vuoi
da me pur che già
si può, sì.
costruire una, cioè, ce la dire che devono essere perfetti però.
C'è parla fina, secondo me.
E si può finire in quarto, secondo me, ah? Sì, perché non tutti sopra, non arrivi mai fuori.
Well, if you're a fan of Italy, you're looking for the Hail Mary, the angle run in. If you're a fan of the USA, you're holding your breath. Mosaner has to hit about a quarter on the outside of this red rock, run it in at a 45-degree angle and stuff it on the nose of that stone on the back of the button. Here we go. It's close. Across the top, though, the USA are going to steal. USA steal the 10th end. Mosaner just missing the angle raise. Rich Ruhonen, skip of Team USA, they take the victory to the delight of the hometown fans here in Las Vegas. Final score in this one, USA 5, Italy 3. Sixth end action in this game. China versus Canada. Final stone. China's skip. Shodahia. Facing two. Has to hit and stick. A little bit of a roll, but hangs around in the back of the 4-foot. China score one, giving them a 4-3 lead. Canada's Brad Gushu trying a thin double takeout. Jams the Chinese stone and China steals the point. This game is tied. Eighth end. Half the rock available for Brad Gushu, trying to clip it out. Makes it perfectly, and Canada scores a huge three-point end to give them control of the game, 7-4 after 8. And Canada would run China out of stones. Canada staying near the top of the table with a 7-4 victory over China. Let's run down all of the final scores from session 16 here on a Thursday afternoon in Las Vegas. Japan 8-3 winners over Germany. USA 5-3 winners over Italy. Canada with a 7-4 victory over China. And Sweden with a 7-3 win over Russia here at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are the standings. Sweden alone at the top of the table at 9-1. They're qualified for the playoffs, as are Canada and Scotland. Norway at 6-4. Russia with the loss dropping now to 5-4. Level with Switzerland. Korea on 5-5, followed by the Netherlands, the USA, China, Italy, Japan, and Germany.
A tough game out there against China, but you pulled it off in the end.
Yeah, I thought we actually played pretty good. I thought we had some ends set up and kind of let them slip later on in the end. But overall, it was good. A win's a win, which is the main thing.
Nichols didn't seem himself today, maybe.
Mark had a couple misses that were a little uncharacteristic, but he's been pretty good all week. And you know, you're going to have a game like that in a 12-game event, so I'm sure he'll bounce back. I thought overall he threw it pretty well. Just you know, a couple of rocks where he was a little heavy, a little light.
We saw Sweden only play 16 ends today. They're off for the day. You got USA tonight, but you play Sweden tomorrow. Do you have enough energy for the repeat of the final from last year?
We'll be fine.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for us from Las Vegas. On behalf of Sandra Rolvag and our entire production team, I'm Hans Fralop. Thank you and so much. So long from Las Vegas.